All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here talking real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. Last night was the big Friends reunion over on HBO Max. I'm sure they probably got so many signups based just on that. Brilliant marketing. The fact that they were able to pull this off because it's been in the works for many years, and people basically have done movie trailers about the Friends reunion and so forth, that they just made, okay, to kind of tease people into thinking that there would be a Friends reunion. And lo and behold, last night, for about an hour and 40 minutes or something like that. It's a fairly long, more or less like a documentary and reminiscing. And, they did reenact some things, they did table reads. I thought the cast itself looked pretty good for their age, although I would say the two Matts, both Matthew Perry and Matt LeBlanc, looked a little weathered, a little long in the tooth. But again, it's been 17, 18 years, whatever, depending on how you look at it. And, Matt LeBlanc kind of looks like an Italian mob boss, even though he's not Italian. And Matthew Perry came off to me as a little sort of disconnected. I mean, he was into it, but the other cast members seemed a lot more animated. David Schwimmer looked great. Obviously, Jennifer Aniston has held up well. I think Courtney Cox may have had some work done, but she looks good. Lisa Kudrow looked fantastic, and she might be my favorite friend. I mean, I don't know. It's between her and David Schwimmer. They're both really great on the show, and Lisa Kudrow for Smelly Cat. Come on, one of the best songs ever, right? Chrissy Hind couldn't figure it out, which if you're a fan of the show, you know what I'm talking about. So the music, though, here's the thing that kind of bothered me. So you've got this amazing band called the Rembrandts, right? The Rembrandts from the 90s. That's Just the Way It Is, Baby. If you really follow the group, I did. I was in radio when that song broke out, and we were kind of thinking, hey, it's a folky kind of Beatles vibe or something. They really had their own sound. And, to sit down and write a theme song to a television show. Now, apparently, I didn't know this, they had help from both David Crane and Marta Kaufman, who, if you look in the credits, it'll say that they helped write lyrics with Danny Wilde and Phil Solem. Danny Wilde and Phil Solem are the two main guys that are left in the Rembrandts. They had other members, but if you check them out these days, it's going to be the duo. I remember a few years back when Netflix picked up Friends, and that was the first venue where you could just watch Friends on demand as much as you want. They did an acoustic rendition of I'll Be There For You, and it was fantastic. I was just sitting there going, wow. I mean, just to redo the song, and these guys, their harmonies and their vocal blend is so distinctive and so awesome that I'm thinking, yeah, okay, release this as a single, but obviously too much time has passed and nobody really cares. But what I care about is the show is so iconic, and that theme song is so iconic that I thought it would get a little bit of recognition last night, other than, at one point, one of the producers says something like, we knew we had a big show because this song, it was on the radio. And I'm thinking to myself, did you live through the 70s and the 80s? I mean, one example I can give you, Hill Street Blues, right? Cop show, instrumental track with Mike Post and the insanely talented Larry Carlton, who, by the way, if somebody comes up to me and says, hey, Larry Carlton, I think he's the best guitarist, I would go, okay. He's another one of those guys where I would just go, I don't know if I agree with you, but okay, your premise is, it's reasonable. It's a reason. That guy, Larry Carlton, you go back to Steely Dan and so many other, you'll find his name on so many credits for different albums and so forth. But what a beast on guitar. Anyway, Hill Street Blues, top 10 song, instrumental track. See, this is how much music has changed. Of course, you had like Joey Scarberry, you had, I mean, there's so many. The Happy Days theme, Laverne and Shirley theme. These are just things that are rolling off the top of my head, and there's so many more. If you go back to Mike Post, again, the Rockford Files, that was a chart song, believe it or not. And it did pretty well. It was all over the radio I remember as a kid riding around the station wagon. So my point about Friends is that this is the most iconic TV theme song ever. It's just, in my mind, it's not even close. Cheers, that's a great song. Wasn't as much a radio song. Up in Boston, the Cheers theme, the full-length theme with the extra verse in it, which is kind of a kooky, I don't know. It's like they had to make up more lyrics for the song. It's still a good song, and I love the Cheers theme, but for me, and you might have your own favorite TV theme song, but the Friends song was actually a real song. You know what I mean? It was a real radio-friendly song, and it's so important to that television show, and yet barely really a mention of the band. Plus, they did this iconic video with the cast in it. I mean, that video is so goofy. I think Courtney Cox is playing drums and stuff. All of it is so important to the success of that TV show. Not to say that if the show had a different theme, it wouldn't be as popular, but everything kind of fits together. And I thought, they might actually interview those two guys from the Rembrandts and maybe talk about how the song was written, how the song came together, but that didn't happen. And I think that was very much sort of a big omission last night in the Friends documentary reunion, however you want to look at it. I still highly recommend folks watch it. Shoot the Rembrandts a thank you, because again, it took those two guys with a little extra songwriting mojo to come up with that great song, but they pull it off and they do something quite spectacular. And it's rock history. It's music history. If it's not rock history, it's music history. And they deserve the cyber pat on the back or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just really important to culture and so forth, and to a show which is going to get even bigger now thanks to this whole reunion thing. So that's my video, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. And yes, you can join me on Patreon for a measly $1 a month. That's all I ask. It helps support the channel if you want to communicate with yours truly and send friendly, nice messages over. I would be more than happy to welcome you to our Patreon family. Until next time, I'll see you soon.